I've always liked living alone. Silence has a texture you can grow addicted to. The hum of the refrigerator, the faint creak of old wood under your steps, the sound of your own breathing when the city outside falls asleep. That's why I rented this small apartment on the edge of town. It was cheap, quiet, anonymous. I could disappear here. Every morning I made coffee in the same chipped mug. Every evening I set up my camera on the desk and recorded myself talking. Little diary entries, video notes, just me, the camera, and the room breathing softly around me. I thought it was harmless, comforting even. It started a few weeks ago. I was rewatching one of my late-night recordings when I heard something. At first I thought it was just background noise. Maybe a car outside, maybe the pipes, but the sound was too close. It came from behind me, a soft exhale, so faint it could have been my imagination. I paused the video, rewound, played it again. The same breath, right at the edge of hearing. My back tensed as if someone had whispered in my ear. I turned around. Of course, the room was empty, but from that moment, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. The changes were small at first. A cup slightly moved. A book I could swear I'd left upright, now lying flat. The light in the kitchen turned a few degrees toward the window. Things that could be explained, easily dismissed, but they began to add up. At night, I would wake up thirsty, walk into the kitchen, and notice the chair under the table turned just enough to make me stop and stare. The cupboard door, once closed, hung open a finger's width. I told myself I was being paranoid. Maybe I'd done it half asleep. Maybe I was losing track. One night, I decided to record myself sleeping, just to prove to myself that nothing was wrong. The camera's tiny red light blinked in the corner as I climbed into bed. Morning came, and I didn't remember dreaming, but I felt heavy, drained. I turned on the playback. The timestamp read 3:12 a.m. The room was dark except for the soft orange glow of the streetlight filtering through the curtain. For several seconds, nothing moved. Then, my bedroom door opened, slowly, carefully. A figure slipped inside. It moved toward my bed, silent, deliberate. It leaned over me. The camera's low resolution turned everything grainy, but I could see the motion, the small human movement of someone breathing, watching. My skin went cold. The figure stood there, just inches from my sleeping face, for a few seconds before straightening and backing out of the room, closing the door without a sound. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I just stared at the screen until my vision blurred. Then I shut the laptop, yanked the plug from the wall, and sat there in the dark, shaking. But that image, the slow, careful lean of a stranger, burned into my mind. The next morning, I checked the entire apartment. Every room, every drawer, every possible hiding place. Nothing. But when I walked into the bathroom, I froze. There, beside my toothbrush, was another one. Old, yellowed, crusted with dried toothpaste. It wasn't mine. I didn't touch it. I just stared. Someone had used it recently. I spent the rest of the day locked inside, curtains drawn, phone muted. The silence in the apartment wasn't silence anymore. It was pressure. It felt alive. I could hear the refrigerator hum, the faint buzz of the street lamp outside, my own pulse in my ears. Every sound meant something. Every sound came from somewhere. That evening, while checking the kitchen, I noticed a narrow gap between the wall and the cupboard. I'd never paid attention to it before. It looked like a sealed corner, except it wasn't. I shone a flashlight through the gap. Dust, cobwebs, and something metallic. I reached in and pulled out a small tin box. Inside were random objects: a rusted pocket knife, a cracked pair of glasses, the remnants of an old toothbrush. At the bottom was a small key. My heart was hammering so hard I thought I'd faint. And then I heard it, a faint rustle. Not from the room, but from inside the wall. A scrape, a shift, like fabric brushing against wood. Someone was there, listening. I held my breath. The sound stopped. The air felt too thick to breathe. That night, I didn't even try to sleep. I left the lights on, sat on the couch, and stared at the door. My body trembled every time the floorboards creaked. The minutes dragged. The clock's ticking became unbearable. Around 3 a.m, exhaustion finally pulled me under. When I opened my eyes again, the room was dark. I didn't know what had woken me, but something was wrong. The air felt heavier, thicker. I could hear breathing. Not mine, someone else's. Slow, uneven, close. So close I could feel it brushing my skin. I stayed perfectly still, pretending to be asleep. My chest barely moved. The breathing grew louder, rougher. Then came the faintest creak of the bed. Someone was leaning over me. I opened my eyes just a sliver. There was a man. Old. His hair was white, wild, his skin gray and thin in the dim light. I couldn't see his eyes, only the shape of them. Dark hollows staring down at me. His hand trembled slightly. In it, he held something soft. A pillow. Time fractured. I couldn't move. My lungs forgot how to work. The man's breathing was calm, patient. He leaned closer, his shadow swallowing the faint orange glow from the window. The smell of dust and something old filled my nose. The pillow hovered above my face. The air thickened. For a moment, the world became soundless. Just the hum of blood in my ears. The sharp edge of realization. Then the darkness folded inward. Everything stopped. And there was nothing after that.